Let's have a look at contractual obligations. And session aim and learning outcomes. The aim of this unit is to discuss and learn about contractual obligations. Learning outcomes. Upon completion of the session, learners will be able to state what contractual obligations are. Contractual responsibilities in your work role. Obligations will be placed upon you by statutes, directives and regulations. These are also covered within the confines of your employment contract, as well as through legislation and governing bodies such as the Institute for Learning. You have implied contractual obligations. These are not directly specified within a contract of employment. They're implied in contract of employment. In other words, you can't get away with it. And responsibilities for learners in a physical and moral sense. So to summarise, again, quite a short session. Obligations will be placed upon you as teachers by statutes, directives and regulations. Let's have a look at the concepts of adult teaching. The aim of this unit is to learn about some of the concepts of adult teaching. And upon completion of the session, you will be able to state the concepts of adult learning covering establishing relationships in the classroom, planning a new class, creating a safe environment, incorporating a discussion, using simple tools for learning, the peer group, andragogy and pedagogy learning. Establishing relationships in the classroom. And as a class question, you could ask, why is it important? It produces a productive learning environment. You'll get a lot of promotion of learner satisfaction. There'll be a cohesive team committed to a common goal. And you'll be agreeing standards and ground rules, identifying personalities and roles. And there'll be a strong moral, motivation and ownership. When planning a new class, what should we take into consideration? Well, things like, what do your students already know? What do you want them to learn? Why is it important for them to learn it? What methods will help you accomplish your goal? What examples and activities will you use? How will examples and activities be sequenced? And how will you assess students' learning? First of all, you need to create a safe environment. And how do we create a safe environment? Well, first of all, in the UK, we work by the Health and Safety at Work Act, etc. 1974. We try to eliminate as many hazards as we can. We carry out risk assessments. We inform students of the potential hazards. And we ensure a clean working environment. If you can recall, with the domestics, one of the main things you must mention is to go through the fire and the health and safety. Incorporating a discussion. Why use discussion groups as a teaching tool, do you think? Well, there's learning interaction. The teacher can gain information. In fact, the teacher can learn a lot of information as well, because every time I have group work, I always learn some new snippet of information which you can bring forward then into the next sessions. It draws on the experience of learners and teachers, and there's confirmation of information taught. Using simple tools for learning. The teaching and learning continuum. This is the teacher's approach to a teaching task. It is used interactively by the teacher with students to promote learning of targeted, critical content. Using simple tools for learning, we could use the toolbox continuum by using a variety of methods to match a teaching situation, such as mind maps, advanced organisers, and minute papers. This is an example of our mind map. This is something I use quite extensively. Some people call it a spider's web. You start with a central theme or goal, and you have some spider's webs or lines coming from that central goal, which will lead you on to other goals, other thoughts, other specifications, and you might well have lines coming from those outer goals as well. Advanced organisers watch the time, ensure equipment is ready and working. Minute papers normally for larger groups. Ask the learners at the start of the session to write questions that they have on a piece of paper and send them to the front. At a point during the session, answer the questions. This allows burning questions from the learners to be answered.
thus allowing individual and group learning to take place. Again, this will be a class question. The peer group. What do you think of the benefits of a peer group? There's a benefit by grouping of similar age, gender and interests. It promotes a sense of belonging, friendship and recognition. Advice and opinion are freely given, and you're sharing the same learning experience. And lastly, criticism is often more readily accepted. Andragogy and pedagogy learning. Pedagogy is teacher-centred. This is where learners are dependent. Learners are extremely motivated by rewards, competition, etc. The learning environment is formal and characterised by competitiveness and value judgments. Planning and assessment is conducted by the teacher. Teaching is characterised by transmittal techniques, for example lectures or side readings. Evaluation is accomplished mainly by external methods, for example grades, tests and quizzes. Andragogy is learner-centred. Learners are independent, self-directed. Learners are intrinsically motivated, in other words interested in learning for learning's sake. The learning environment is more informal and characterised by equality and mutual respect and cooperation. Planning and assessment is a collaborative affair, i.e. teachers and students. Teaching is characterised by inquiry projects, experimentation, independent study. Evaluation is characterised by self-assessment. Again, probably the best way of learning by andragogy because people want to learn. To summarise, we looked at the importance of establishing relationships, how creating a safe environment assists learning, and we've looked at various teaching tools that we can use. So, by way of revision, why do you think it's important that we establish classroom relationships? Do you think it's for socialising in the evening? Promotion of learner satisfaction? To promote a productive learning environment? Or to compare notes with? Your answers now please. And it's B and C.